Hi, my name is Aliona Medelian, and I'm the CEO and a co-founder at Thematic, a customer insights platform. Our specialty is to give you insights from qualitative data, such as reviews, survey responses, customer chat, complaints, support tickets. But today, we will dig deeper into insights from banking app reviews. Can you see your bank or credit union here? If yes, then the data I will present includes your bank's reviews. If not, email me and I'd be happy to do a custom session on your bank's reviews. So the data we have here was collected from Google Play and Apple's App Store. We included 35 US banking credit unions, and all of them had more than 100 reviews, and the reviews were pretty current. For every review, we know which store it came from, what was the rating, what was the bank name, the review date, country, and app version. By using Thematic, we added additional information. For example, we added themes, and every review could have multiple themes. A theme is different to a keyword because it can be expressed in many different ways. For every single theme, we also have a sentiment attached to it. So for example, here we have a review that has both negative themes shown in red and positive themes shown in green. Having this data helps us to get the why behind the ratings. For example, we can look at all of the positive reviews, 4 and 5 stars, and look at the common themes behind these reviews. And the number one thing people care about is user experience. But when it comes to features, what do you think? Which feature is the most important to mobile banking app customers? This feature is the ability to deposit checks. But can you guess which bank outperforms most other banks when it comes to this feature? Outperforms meaning more people mention it among 4 and 5 star reviews, so more people happy with this feature. This bank is JP Morgan. They clearly have a great feature that works for most customers. Likewise, we can look at unhappy customers by looking at 1, 2, and 3 star ratings. And here we can see that customers are complaining about issues. What kind of issues? Well, banking apps that simply don't work. When we dig deeper into the data, we can see that the lowest scores are associated with themes related to different versions and updates and having to reinstall the app. This is when the app typically stops working. Users also hate when they cannot access their account, their money. And this happens most commonly when there are issues with authentications. Users simply cannot log in. It's a problem. Account seems like a generic feature, but if we dig deeper into it and look at sub-themes, it's all about account information. And when we look at related themes that people mention alongside account information, we can learn that people aren't happy when the balance and transaction information is inaccurate. So the insights become even more interesting if you know which persona they relate to. In your VOC program, you can have super granular data. For example, for each piece of feedback, you will know who is that customer, what is their transaction volume, how long they've been a customer. But my data is limited. But it did remind me of an Apple commercial from the 90s. Do you remember it? Are you a Mac or are you a PC? Now, I don't know which type of customer is worth more to your bank, but here we have two clear differences. Android users and iPhone users, similarly to Mac and PC users, have even their ratings are different. iPhone users are less happy with an average of 3.6 stars across all of the mobile banks. So why is their rating lower? Interestingly, it all comes again to the deposit checks feature. It is actually less likely to work on iOS. When we look across all of the reviews, Apple users are 3 times as likely to mention deposit checks feature. And when they do, they mention it in a more negative light. So there's more negative reviews proportionally compared to Android users. Or perhaps it's that iPhone users have higher expectations and are harder to please, like this user, for example, who wants a native iOS app. Another thing we can do with this data is benchmarking to reveal the unknown unknowns. And I just want to walk you through quickly 3 interesting questions. First, do bigger banks deliver a better mobile app experience? 2, can a credit union use their mobile app as a competitive advantage? And given a specific app by one of the banks, can we identify its strengths and weaknesses? So the first question, here we looked at the apps by 5 largest banks, US Bank, Wells Fargo, Citi, Bank of America, and JP Morgan. And their average review is indeed higher than review of all of the other banks, 4.4 versus 4 stars. And when we look at why that is, we can see in Thematic that their apps are easier to use, they have less issues, and less people complain about problems like with login or broken updates. So does this mean that when you have more resources, then you're more likely to develop an amazing app, invest into that user experience, and have a great app with a very high review? Well, let's look at 2 specific banking apps. One is by ESL, and this credit union has one of the best apps according to the ratings. And Citi, one of the top 5 largest banks, which also has one of the best ratings. You can see that the two are vastly different in their size and probably resource and approach. But they have a similar review, 4.7 and 4.6. However, when we look at ESL app, it is twice as reliable as Citibank's app. So perhaps they didn't have a lot of resource to invest into user experience, but people still find it easy to bank with them because the app is reliable. Now, let's look at one sample bank's reviews. And I don't want to pick on anybody. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. But just for the sake of it, let's look at TD Bank. Starting with the positives, well, compared to others, this bank is actually faster than other apps. It's clearly their competitive advantage. When it comes to negatives, it seems to be less reliable than other apps, especially lately. So when we look at 1 and 3-star reviews, the number one thing that stands out in the last 30 days is the app is twice as likely to not work compared to other banks. Digging deeper, we can see again that the mobile check deposit feature is the issue. This year, 7% of people are commenting on this feature. It doesn't seem to work. Well, the good news is that TD Bank is fixing their issue. Turns out the feature was at its worst in October 2020, as we can see here. And I don't work at TD Bank, but I can see all of these insights in Thematic. I can see how many people over time, in terms of volume, have been mentioning this particular banking app feature and the impact that it had on their rating. So the more people are unhappy, the lower the rating. And the happier they are, the better is the impact. So we can see that as they're fixing the app, things are improving. So key takeaways for your bank's mobile app. First of all, get the basics right. Customers want an easy and reliable mobile check deposit feature. And this is what I recommend that you build. Authentication, reliability, speed, all of these can be competitive advantages. And as you're shipping new updates, make sure you track changes so that you identify any issues and fix them. It only took me 3 hours to get these insights. How? Through the power of artificial intelligence, which is at the core of what we do at Thematic. I would love to give you a deep dive into your bank's mobile app insights. And to do that, simply email me and I will set up a private walkthrough. Finally, one thing I want to leave you with is that imagine what we can do with your internal customer feedback. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to hear back from you. Thank you.